Brian Barnett had a certain relevance in the time he wrote it. Schubert had been in hospital a lot because he had syphilis and knew that he was heading for lunacy. But it's not about psychosis. It's obviously about a journey, and it's about the journey of an individual from a situation in which he was loved and felt at home, which is described to us in the very first song, to a state of complete alienation from society. And the very end of the cycle is a very bleak vision of another outcast, the hurdy-gurdy man, who the wanderer identifies with.
Because this is the other half of what you want. I know it makes them too big, but...
No, it's too big then. It's proportions.
Or we could turn this wall into that wall, and then we could change this wall.
Just build a wall.
Yeah, just build a wall.
Or that.
So it's not so...
That's why it's a test. It's an insurance test. I mean, in my movie of this scene, there's this weird, it's like an expressionistic movie with this weather vane which is moving very slowly, and this guy is, or it's even in his dream, or there's a shadow of it in his room when he's sitting on a chair, and it's absolutely freaked out.
The way we do this is very specific.
Yeah. To what?
To the text, yes, and the music, and, yes, what's going on in the music, and it's very difficult to take. I mean,
but the situation is so the contrast.
But I mean, you can say that basically that could be
the whole thing.
That's the whole thing.
Yes. Yes.
All the way through, it's mad.
Yes.
The whole thing's mad.
Yes. In a way.
But I think what Ian's instinctively resisting is Gothic horror. Because that's what's, in a way, so easy to do with it. Also, it does work on that.
Don't you think those trills are Gothic horror?
I do.
Emotional
I
Gothic
think
horror.
They are, just by doing them.
There is Gothic horror. It's it's convincing and it works. But the scale which he's written it in should express all that without me having to go. It's something more internal than that. It has to still have the rhythm.
The other way. I thought it was more, it got me more. Well, I don't think this is classical proportion. This is this is romantic music.
It's just that it has to stand like a building within its...
Well, I mean, what you mean is you don't want...
No.
It mustn't be, there must be an aesthetic way of expressing it, and it's without undue exaggeration or self-aggrandizement.
Without sentimentality.
And I think there is
Isn't there a danger you could ham it?
I mean, if I've been criticised for, I don't know, this is stupid and irrelevant to the process that we're going through, but if I've ever been criticised for anything in the past, it's for going over the top.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But it's interesting as a sort of...
But it does not in any way to detract from what you're saying, or the legitimacy of what you're saying. It's just to try and put that other point of view that will stop us wholeheartedly just jumping in there and doing exactly what you say. Do you see what I mean? Oh, you do see what I mean, I know you do.
Yes, I do.
If you say to me it's not crazy enough.
It's not that. I don't think you're fulfilling the music. I don't think you're fulfilling what he wrote, you see. Without doing more contrasts and more...
what sort of dynamic contrasts?
Yes, and emotional contrasts. And
what are
tempo.
emotional contrasts in terms of execution?
I can tell you moment by moment in this song, for example.
Yeah.
I can tell you in this song. Do it. Start it again, and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Go for that idea of being hushed.
What I don't understand is, I don't understand why you don't take a little more time at the end of these phrases. Der Wind spielt mit der Wind spielt drinnen mit den Herzen wie auf dem Dach. Nur nicht so laut. It's doubly kind of sly and freaky and unheimlich and sort of, especially when you get to the nur nicht so laut. Then it explodes. Was fragen Sie nach meinen Schmerzen? Was fragen Sie? Ihr Kind ist eine reiche Braut. Merken soll. And it's got that wild sort of jaunty thing. Now, of course, I exaggerate horrifically, but that's what the character of this thing is. It's completely sort of, I don't know.
You want to try that?
Yeah.
Ihr Kind ist eine reiche Braut.
As a director, what I do is I look at the 24 poems and I listen and I think about the music, and I'm trying to find. I'm just trying to find the sort of the shapes underneath it, and the turning points, and also what I'm trying to chart for myself is the emotional progression that happens to this guy during the piece, because that's what the piece is. The psychodrama aspect of this piece, which is very much there. It's very extreme and on the edge, and then it's sort of about a breakdown in a way, and then coming out into the other side and changing.